Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the beautiful Ames Library once again for our second week of Titan Table Talk here in the fall of 2023. I'll be joined today by Titan men's and women's head cross-country coach Greg Huffaker, as well as head football coach Norm Eash. First, Coach Huffaker, welcome in for our first show this fall with you. How you been so far?
Thanks. I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to have you on, and wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the opening few weeks of your season. First competition was a little bit of a rough day weather-wise and course-wise, as we chatted about before going on the first down at Milliken. But still, plenty of positives to take away from that. Got to see some strong performances under the circumstances from several returners. So tell us a little bit about how you felt that day went.
Yeah, it was good. We have typically hosted on that date, but the area high schools had to meet at Maxwell Park, so it was unavailable for us. So the Milliken coach was kind enough to step up and have a competition on September 1st, the first day we could compete. It was really warm that day, and we were competing on a golf course that's no longer in use as a golf course. They put a lot of work into getting some things set up, but at the end of the day, the footing was still it was a little rough, and so we used it as an opportunity to get some group training in and not really compete. We wanted to keep people healthy and not get hurt. Saw some great group dynamics, but we really just kind of had to check the box of competing, keep ourselves healthy. Yes. Training's gone great through the first few weeks of the season, and so we're really kind of focusing on this Friday. We'll open up at ISU, so it'll be a lot of great competition. It's a great course. We get to stay in town here. So that's really been our focal point in the early season.
Yeah, and that's kind of coming in as a little bit of a replacement to the Maxwell competition that we usually host, the Titan Opener that we did not, obviously, as you said, this year. But the chance to stay in town, go a mile or so up the road, and some tough competition at that one, obviously.
Yeah, it'll be a big ask for our first true competition this season, but Wartburg College, Greenville, Heartland will be some non-division ones there. We're pretty fortunate on the ladies' side. Annalise Chudy and Adriana Crabtree both had outstanding years for us last year. They'll get a chance to mix it up with some great competition, and so that'll be really good for them. And I think we have a lot of ladies that are in a better spot than they've been in their careers, and guys as well. We have a lot of returning depth, and so I think everybody's excited. The track team has plans to get out there and support them, so it's almost like a home meet. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited about it. It's a great course. It's been about 10 or so years since we've competed on the ISU golf course at Weibring, but it's a nice opportunity to be at home and to have great competition.
One of those very rare occasions and one of the few sports where this is possible, where you can actually have an away competition that is closer than your home competition would be to campus. So
absolutely, because it's even closer than Maxwell.
Yeah.
Is, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So looking back, I know you talked a little bit about Annalise and Adriana coming back. Obviously, you're two returning all CCIW student athletes on the women's side. Annalise finished second last year at the conference meet, just 5 seconds off the title, and 1, 3, and 4 around her have all graduated. Adriana 13th, and obviously had a big season in the spring with the track and field team. Amanda Wilson, 25th, Tia Hart, 36th. Anybody else you're kind of hoping can take that next step this year and contend for an all-CCW spot?
Yeah, I think Emma McGrath. She had a great year for us in the 1500 and in the mile indoors. And she's been a little hesitant to say yes to the invitation of cross country. She likes the shorter distances, but she worked really hard this summer. She's in fantastic shape. We're nursing a little bit of an Achilles flare-up, so not 100% sure if she'll compete this weekend or not, but she's going to be a huge contributor for us. Brooke Nazos had a really nice run at the conference in the steeplechase. She's in great shape. Abby Quinn, as a sophomore, she had a big summer. So I think that there's several people that can step in and continue to push that group forward. Skylar Temecki has trained really well. She's been training with that group as a freshman. So we're really excited about what the ladies can accomplish this season. It's been pretty rare to have a 1-2 punch like I think we'll have this year. So I think both Annalise and Adriana will have an excellent opportunity to advance to the national championship. And so then we're trying to see how close can we get the next 3 runners to see if we can challenge to take a team to the national championship or not. And so the ladies have done a really incredible job so far this season about answering, the call and training. So it's been fun.
Yeah, and really fun to think about. Well, neither of them is a senior either, so you've got kind of two more fall seasons with both of them there as your 1-2 punch, as you said. When you switch over to the men's side, obviously Nick Fish, the top returner from the CCIW meet, 17th last year. J.D. Barrett, certainly a big loss, both talent-wise and leadership-wise on your roster as well, but quite a few guys you think ready to step into those shoes and be the 2, 3, 4, 5 behind Nick this season.
Yeah, I think so. You don't replace a great leader and senior like JD, but I think that we return a lot of talent, and the guys had good summers. So Nick is coming off a little bit of an IT band injury during the track season, so it was a slow start to his summer, but a good one. He still had a really good summer. Zach Daniel was coming off a hamstring issue, but he's in great shape. Ernie Watterson was runner-up in the CCIW in the 800, and he is in the best shape of his entire life. He's ready to do some big things for us. Seth Hammerski, freshman Aiden Nishimura is in great shape. I'm gonna leave people out here. This is what happens when you get
This is
old.
the danger we run. This is the disclaimer. If he accidentally forgot you in the rapid fire here, you are not forgotten by Coach Huff. Don't worry.
Zach Marquardt, he's from Minnesota. He kind of came here hoping to try out and make the soccer team. That didn't work out for him, so he started running cross country even last year, and he had an incredible summer. He's a guy that no one's going to know who he is, but he is in tremendous shape, and he's worked really hard to contribute in a big way to that group. So while we'll miss JD being a great competitor for us, I think we're going to be deeper overall this year.
And when we talk about, obviously coming in great shape, but then looking at the first few weeks of training once you guys are on campus a little bit before school starts, I think most people out there, general idea of cross-country training is go run. And can you walk us through a little bit kind of how you set up preseason and early season training, obviously looking to get into peak mid-season shape, but also avoid overuse stress injuries at the same time?
Yeah, well, I'm sure if there's anyone that can relate to what we do, it's you. The swimming world and the running world have a lot of similarities. So we're using the first part of preseason to kind of extend our summer base period, and you can get into a lot of the science and physiology of it, but there's ends up being plenty of time over the course of our season to get in the fast intervals, the speed work that some people like to call it. So we're using the first part of preseason to really continue to extend that summer training, that summer base building period. We do a workout at White Oak Park where we do a progressive tempo run, and we've done it, this is year 19, I bet we've done it 18 of my 19 years here. So there's a lot of historical data, but we're doing a lot of team bonding, a lot of team goal setting and stuff over the course of the preseason. But it's really now, as we're getting into, second week of school, where the intensity is starting to go up a little bit more now. And so that'll continue to rise throughout the next couple of weeks. But we're definitely continuing to have an emphasis on volume and building that base, that foundation over the beginning 3 weeks of the season.
So the final question for you today, and this is the hard-hitting journalism that Titan Table Talk is known for. Despite the fact that I've been trying to keep the summer vibes alive for as long as possible, I've been reminded in no uncertain terms by certain people on campus that it is now fall and spooky season is upon us. And with that in mind, I'd like your top 2 or 3 staff members in terms of how much fun they are for you to scare.
Grania Kelly is probably number 1 right now. She tends to be a little on the jumpy side, so that scare isn't always hard. Sorry, Grania, hoping that won't come back to hurt me. The one that you feel most accomplished, or at least I do, is Kim Nelson-Brown. She is hard to scare. She had ice running through her veins. She is a tough one. But really, I'm open to scaring anyone. I know. I like to be inclusive.
Yes,
so yeah,
we're well aware. And I think once you've worked with Kim for 19 years, I think she's ready for anything that you're going to throw at her. That's the problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
you got to be careful. She has good reflexes, so, and she's not afraid to defend herself.
I'll have to ask her follow-up in the next couple weeks when we have her on again and maybe give her a warning that you might have some new tricks up your sleeve. But good luck to you guys at Redbird on this Friday. Come on out to Wybring. I believe it's a 5:45 p.m. start. Is that correct?
5 for women, 5:45 for men.
5 for women, 5:45 for the men at Wybring Golf Course in Normal, just a mile up the road. Come on out and see the Titans compete here in town this Friday. And thanks to Coach Huffaker for joining us.
Thanks, Tommy.
We'll be back in just a few moments with Titan head football coach Norm Eash.
Hey there, Titan fans. The Titan Streaming Network is looking for new sponsors for the 2023-2024 season. If you are interested in sponsoring the live streams and having your brand or company showcased during the games, don't hesitate to reach out to live stream coordinator Tyler Wilson at twilson2@iwu.edu. Together, we can form a partnership that helps all sides and allows us to continue showcasing and supporting Titan athletics. Thank you, and go Titans!
Welcome back inside the Ames Library Podcast studio for our second guest on week 2 of Titan Table Talk here in the fall of 2023. It is Titan head football coach Norm Eash. Coach Eash, how are we doing today?
Well, we could be doing better after our first game. You know, we were disappointed in our loss, of course. It was opening day. It was a beautiful day weather-wise, great crowd. Our first game, and we didn't play as well as we thought we were going to, and so we suffered our first loss. So got to bounce back from that.
Yeah, and I know we talked a little bit last week about how, this was going to be a tough test for the only non-conference game of the year and leading into a tough conference slate, obviously. But we talked a lot about the defense last week. And, despite the fact that we've gone through a couple of years of really almost, rebuilding with a lot of freshmen and then sophomore starters on the defensive side, getting to see a much more experienced and talented defensive unit out there this year. And really, you look at the box score and it says 38-13. And I was at 2/3 of that game, and it was a closer game than that. And I think everybody who saw that would agree. And the defense, I think, was a big reason why. Held the Dutch to 5 for 16 on third downs, 39 carries for 70 yards, under 2 yards a carry, 3 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. Were you happy with the growth you saw out of that unit?
I thought our defense played really well. It was unfortunate that our offense put our defense on a short field numerous times. We had 4 turnovers that led directly to scores. If you look at it from that standpoint, we gave them, offensively, I thought we gave them 25 points. They scored 38. That takes it down to 13, and we scored 13. So you're right. It was a much closer game than the score indicated. Again, those are disappointing things offensively that we need to correct, and we are working on that. We can't let that, set us back, though. Our goal is still to win the conference, and so we start conference play, so we have to move forward. We got to learn from our mistakes of last week and move forward, but our offense has to play better, no doubt about it.
When you look at, a couple bright spots on the offensive side, Miles Key in a nice, fully healthy Week 1 game, had 7 catches for 71 yards and looked explosive on the field when we got the ball in his hands. Seth Albin, of course, along with Jay Lemonager, struggled to carry the ball behind a pretty tough central defensive front, but he had the 99-yard kickoff return and early in the fourth quarter. Any other bright spots that kind of stuck out to you on the offense? Well,
it's funny because you always have a different opinion after the game before you watch the film of the game. And then watching the film, I think if you ask Jay, if you look at his throwing percentage, it was really good.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
27 for 38, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of other ones that we left out there, and he'll say that too, that we were just a little late on the throw and things like that. So that's the positive part of it. It's some of the things were there that we wanted to get accomplished offensively. We just didn't pull the trigger quick enough and got it done. The turnovers are unacceptable. But there were some things that, I thought our offensive line, after the game, I wasn't sure. Watching the tape, I thought our offensive line held their own. Jay got pressured a couple times, but there was some good coverage, too, like that. So I thought that was a plus for our offensive line with 2 new starters in there with Peyton Philman and Campbell Brinkman. And then, we have to establish a run game. A lot of people say, well, you got to throw the football. Well, your passing game becomes a lot better after you establish your run game. And we never did that on Saturday. Now, part of that was because we got down and you're kind of playing catch-up. But we talked to our team about establishing the run, and we're going to have to do that for our passing game to even get better.
Yeah. And certainly, the test of facing a Central team that was talented and experienced and often, outsized you guys a little bit in the trenches, it is a good preparation for some of the lines you're going to see in the CCIW play. Certainly one of those coming up this week against the Thunder.
Yeah, it prepares us for Wheaton College. I mean, Wheaton's going to have some big linemen up front, and it was a good test for us. Again, we're still pretty confident. If we played better, it would have been probably a even game.
Yeah.
And we just gave too many things away. We have to mature as a team a little bit more. Again, you got to realize that they're playing their second game. We're playing our first game, and that was unfortunate. But it is what it is. And I was expecting a little bit more with the experience that we had coming back on offense, not to allow that to happen. But we kind of fell into that trap a little bit.
Yeah, and this, especially came out, I thought made some really good halftime adjustments on offense. It looked great on that, the first drive of the second half, 75-yard touchdown drive to open the third quarter. Kevin Graham caught the 9-yard touchdown catch from Zach Hines, and the defense forced a 3-and-out. And then momentum goes right back to Central with the fumble on the first play, and they score on 3 plays. And it kind of felt like that was the turning point in the game, because at that point you're looking at 17-6. You get a quick stop and you're driving once again, and then boom, down 3 scores once again. And that's, where we said there's so many little moments in that game that it could have been a 1-score game easily.
We learned that each play is really precious, and you got to take care of it. You're right. When we go out there and we just got momentum back, and the first play we fumble and put them on a short field, you can't do that to your defense, and you're not controlling momentum. The other part of the game is I thought we were getting back into it again as we got a first down, maybe 2 first downs, and we hit a slant over the middle to Jonas Kapek, and he makes a great catch, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go down and score, and all of a sudden I look up and their defensive back rips it from his hands and runs for a touchdown. I mean, those are things, you say to yourself, why is that happening? Those are just unfortunate plays that really hurt our momentum. So we have to, that's ball security. We'll probably work on that this week and, try to correct those problems that came up in the game against Central.
Yeah. So as you look ahead to this Saturday, Wheaton now ranked 11th in the country for whatever that's worth, which I realize, in a locker room going into the game is not much. But coming off a pretty big 30-21 victory up at Wheaton over UW Oshkosh this past Saturday, also in their season opener. Certainly a team that's been a long-time rival of the Titans, had 2 of their better years in program history in the last couple of years. How are you preparing to face the Thunder going into this weekend?
Well, once you get into CCIW play, you realize that all teams are going to do some little new innovative plays that they're going to come up with. But most teams are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So, I said in our scouting report, we know Wheaton knows us. And so it comes down to executing the plays that we do have and trying to get some personnel matchups and get them out of formation a little bit, so we can have an advantage. You have to execute against Wheaton. I just said that each play is precious. We can't give them opportunities,
right.
And we have to take advantage of the opportunities that they give us, and that's what it's going to come down to. They're a good football program. They've had a lot of success. They're not the same team. They only have 4 starters back on defense, 4 starters back on offense, so it's a completely new team than previous years. So are we. So it's, you kind of start fresh, every year and with new personnel, and each team kind of hopes that their traditions carry them a little bit, and they prepare for the games that way.
Yeah. And one of the goals, obviously, always from week 1, you want to emerge with a victory, but you also want to emerge with everybody healthy.
Yeah.
Last year, that was very hit or miss in the week 1 game. I don't remember seeing anything major on the field. We come out mostly unscathed on Saturday.
Well, yeah. Right before I came up here, I was talking with our head athletic trainer, Melissa Perkins, and I thought we came out of the game. We got a couple of players that are bruised up, banged up, but like I told them, if you play in our league, you're going to feel that. Yeah. you're going to feel that way every week, because if you play hard, that's what's going to happen. It's a physical game. So I think we're going to be okay. I don't think we're going to be missing anybody, so which is good. I mean, you want those players that had at least a game under their belt, get that experience and use it on the second week, and we need that against Wheaton.
Well, thank you so much, Coach, for joining us today. Come on out and catch the Titans in the CCIW opener this Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff at Tucci Stadium. We'll see you there.
Thanks.